What are some of the biggest mistakes that business owners make as they go through the process of selling their business?
Yeah. So one of the big mistakes that's happening right now in the e-commerce space is that folks are selling to PE firms, private equity firms, and taking part of their proceeds in shares of a new entity that the PE firm sets up. And when I say mistake, it can work out really, really well. I've had examples of people like doubling their money in a year or two by doing this. And I've also heard lots of horror stories. So here's the deal. Private equity company comes to you and says, wow, you built this amazing business. We want to buy your company. And they say, but we don't actually have management to run your business. So we'd like you to continue to run it. So we're going to buy 70% of your business. And we're going to ask you to keep 30% of your shares, and we're going to roll it into a new entity. So you're going to be a minority shareholder in a new entity. And we're going to stitch you together with 2 or 3 other businesses just like yours. And we're going to get a higher multiple for the collection. So that second tranche of your equity, the 30% that you left in the business, is going to be worth even more than the 70% you sell us today. Sound good? It's called the second bite of the apple strategy. And it's so cliche. I even hate uttering it. And on paper, on the surface, it kind of makes sense. It sounds appealing. You get to put some money in your jeans, and it can be very lucrative. It can also end in disaster. I'll give you an example. Ryan Moran is a guy who had built a great business called Sheer Strength. They were in the supplements business like Tim. And he built it up to 10 million in revenue when he got an offer from a private equity company. I believe it was for $18 million. He had a partner on the business, and so they were splitting the proceeds. Now, instead of getting 100% of the cash up front, he got 60% of the cash, and 40% was rolled into a new entity. And Ryan didn't want to have a boss or managers, or, he's an entrepreneurial guy. So he's like, okay, I'm out. So the private equity company brought in an e-commerce executive to run the company, and they proceeded to screw it up royally. So much so that the company started to fail under new leadership. So much so that the private equity company couldn't pay back the debt that it had taken on to buy Sheer Strength. Ultimately, Sheer Strength, the new entity, folded, and Ryan was left with zero for the 40% of his business he left in the company. And so I share that story with you because it's one that I've heard from time to time, that when you become a minority shareholder in a company you no longer control, you are putting your basically lot in someone else's hands. And oftentimes they don't have the same drive, the same knowledge, the same skills that you have that got you to the dance. And we can underestimate the value of that versus what they bring to the table. And so look, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes I see right now is trading your full control in your company for a minority position in a business you don't own, for this quote unquote second bite of the apple.